Happy Saturday and welcome to an all-new episode of Hatching for Health. Have you ever wanted to meet a vagina whisperer? Well, today you're going to get to do just that. We have Dr. Marashi here, and he is going to join us to learn all about the vagina. Welcome to the show, Dr. Marashi. How are you?
Hi, Jessica.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
What do you have there?
That's your late Valentine's gift.
Oh, wow. Look at that. It's beautiful.
It's my book, A Woman's Right
My
to Pleasure.
goodness. This is so pretty. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was so kind of you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I know. I've met you now quite a few times, and we've worked together even on some patients. And I just think what you do is amazing, and it's a blessing to many that are able to meet you and be able to be introduced to some of the procedures that you do. So you're technically a cosmetic gynecologist, I think would probably be the best term.
Correct.
So, and you're from New York, and you now live here?
So I live between New York, Florida, and now I added Texas to it as well.
Okay, because you've only been in Texas about...
For the past year.
For the past year.
On and off, yes.
Okay. So bring us back. So you actually studied medicine for becoming an OBGYN.
Of course.
And that was, back actually in Iran, correct?
So no, I studied medicine back in Iran. And then I did my research, residency, and everything here in the US. So
Fantastic.
I came to America, I did a bunch of research back at Stanford, California, in endometriosis and pelvic pain. Ended up going to New York for my residency and training. I was in some of very good hospitals there. And that's when, New York is a place that you have a mixture of cultures. You have everyone. So I saw a lot of patients who were from different cultures, and they went through female genital mutilation. We spoke about that.
Yes.
And these people, basically, they were cut when they were 5, 6 years old. So these girls had literally lost their clitoris, to their parents' wrong beliefs. And because of that, they couldn't really enjoy sex. They couldn't really enjoy anything.
Yeah.
They made them into a baby making factory. So they are
Amazing.
the one who introduced this field to me, and I started working on them more and more.
I see. So I guess from, the viewer's perspective, we think a lot about circumcision when a boy is born, but this is actually something that's, done in a similar manner, but it's related to the clitoris or clitoris that we have as a woman, where they're more worried about them making babies, as you mentioned, not about the pleasure, because that's a big part of a woman's pleasure zone. And so they're removing those, you're saying, at birth, or is it? At
age of 5, 6, so if you want to compare it, is as if you are cutting the glans of penis. So if you cut the tip of the penis, like the glans, the whole glans, that this would be something similar. So it's very unfortunate, it's a cultural issue. That's, where I really, really started was back in Iran. Before this even, I was doing hymenoplasties during medical school to basically repair the hymen, because a lot of women had to be virgins when they get married. Otherwise, they could risk prosecution or even being killed on the night of wedding. So,
oh my goodness.
Big double standard for guys.
Yeah, so you're going in and actually, tightening the vagina walls and making them what would, been the virgin that they once were.
Exactly.
Simply, again, for a religious purpose, and a whole nother situation, like when you're an adult. So I see where the vagina whisperer comes in from both categories. Right. Show me some of this stuff you have here, because I know from the anatomy perspective, actually, I noticed this was on set before I arrived. This is probably a really good little, well, maybe not as good as what you have over there, but just kind of a little bit of explanation.
Because a lot of men and women, they don't even know the anatomy that well. So we have labia minora here. We do a lot of labioplasties as well. A lot of them are botched labioplasties. We have the clitoris here, but this is just the tip of the clitoris. So what we think is clitoris, it's not really the entire clitoris. This is just the gland. So look, clitoris looks like this.
It protrudes out.
This is just, exactly, you're just seeing the tip of this. The rest of this is sitting literally under the skin and right on top of the vagina. And that's why once you have this here, that's why inside the vagina, this area up front is very sensitive.
Is all part of that.
And they call it
like,
G-zone, yeah, because
Okay.
it's really a part of the clitoris. So you
see.
gotta, for guys and ladies, you need to learn the anatomy so you really
Yeah.
know what's gonna be, you know, joyful for
Yeah,
you.
of benefit.
Exactly.
So talking about the labiaplasty too, because I know, I'd met you a month or two back when we were, or I've known you for a few months, but we were speaking about
Right.
a patient in particular that actually, had a severe, I guess, a very large size of the labia.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that story and how you were able to help her.
Right, so that's a story. That's actually the only time, the first time that I did labioplasty or like a plastic surgery on somebody who is younger than 18. I usually don't want to do that. But the mom called us multiple times, you have to see my daughter.
Yeah.
And she's 15. I'm like, okay, I see her, but I'm not going to operate on her until she's 18. Like, okay, fair enough. When they came in and I heard her story, she was on the swim team for her school and for the district that she was in. And apparently all the classmates and all the teammates were making fun of her. And they're like, your roast beef is out. So I told her, I reassured her, I'm like, listen, everybody's labia is different. Some people have larger, some people have smaller, and doesn't matter. It's completely normal.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And I tried to kind of give her some counseling that this is not a necessary procedure. But then I learned from her and her mom that she committed suicide 3 times already. And that that really made me sad. I'm like, why?
Okay, yeah.
She's like, look, she attempted suicide. She committed suicide, but she didn't. It wasn't successful, of course. But that was because they were bullying her. And she's like, look, if you don't do this, I promise I'm not going to commit suicide, but I'm not going back to school or to the team.
Yeah.
So you're going to help me. And you know what? At that point, I decided, mom and dad both consented. We operated on her. And to this day, every single Christmas, New Year's, she texts me or she sends me a card and she's like, you know what? You changed my life.
Of course. And that's something that, I know that a lot of plastic surgery is something that's paid out of the pocket, but in some instances that's paid for through insurance just because of, the rubbing on clothes, the uncomfortability. I mean, I know that, not everyone is a candidate for insurance and you might not even take certain insurances, but I think it's always something that could be explored, one way or the other, based on someone's situation.
And not, but for labioplasty, of course, if it's something that makes them very uncomfortable, like in her situation, it was very, very bad.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that parents did not even want to do it through the insurance.
They just were like, let's just, get her taken care of. We didn't even try
that. But a lot of things that are actually covered by insurance are after childbirth and, losing the angle of the vagina because, vagina, as we talked about it a million times. So this is pelvis. This is the entrance of the vagina. So vagina normally has a downward angle. So if you look at it from the side, the legs are up here. And actually, I think in this, you're going to understand more. So the angle of the vagina, this is from front, goes down. So it's really downwards. What's the reason it's going downwards is that when the penis enters, it needs to rub against the front wall of the vagina. And front wall of the vagina is where clitoris is sitting, the internal part of it, and has over 10,000 nerve endings. So it's the most sensitive part. Yeah. So the reason we lose sensation and intercourse is not that enjoyable after we get older or we have kids, it's just like our face and everywhere else in our body, we lose collagen. So the angle from being like this becomes flat. Once the angle is flat, the penis enters, it touches all the walls, but it doesn't really stimulate the front wall as much as it should. So I tell people it's all about the angle. So a lot of surgeries I do is to correct the angle, and some of them are actually covered by insurance, yes.
Really? Is that something that, as you get older, it just drops and that angle needs to be like, I mean, to get it back to where a certain youthfulness is that just kind of like the way that, the anatomy works inside of us?
So, what? Of course, childbirth makes it much faster. Imagine like a stretch marks that you would get with like having 3 kids are more than if you didn't have kids. But at the same time, as we get older, whether we have kids or not, the skin becomes wrinkly, we lose collagen. I tell people, this is my face. It used to be like this. I didn't have these lines. And like, now they are like this. So we all start like a, very nice plum, and we end up becoming like a prune. We lose water, we lose fat, we lose collagen. And same thing happens in the vagina. So it's nothing abnormal. As we age, we're losing collagen, just like our face, we lose collagen in the vagina. So we have a lot of different techniques that we can fix the angle and tighten the vagina to some extent. They're actually, the technique we talked about that I created myself. So, and this year is going to be in one of the textbooks. It's called Vagilangelo. So kind of like Michelangelo for the vagina. The name is
Vagilangelo.
That's what my anesthesiologist calls me. But not everybody can afford or would want to have a full-on vaginoplasty
and go under anesthesia and all the things.
Exactly.
So this
is
other
what
procedure.
Yes, and we performed a couple of them together. So what we do, we like literally put 3 stitches in certain angles at the bottom part of the vagina to fix the angle. And then we inject either with PRP or we inject with, stem cells, or we can do exosomes. Depending on, different kind of patients, we do different treatments, but we fix the angle. And this Vagilangelo, since I started doing it, a lot of patients love it so much, and it doesn't have the downtime for vaginoplasty. You like literally come to the office, you do it for 15, 20 minutes, and you're out.
And you're out. So if somebody does that, like how long does it last, in comparison to like doing, a more aggressive surgery?
Right, so usually it should be good forever, unless of course you have childbirth or something. But with all of these procedures, it's good to do like a maintenance therapy. So I tell people every like 2-3 years, whether we do like a laser or we do like 1 extra stitch, or maybe we do some more PRP injection. So it's good to always maintain.
Yeah, it's just like kind of keeping up with our face, or just keeping up with our vagina with different
vagina is
little
very
techniques.
important.
No, of course. I think that's huge. I think everyone knows about, being able to surgically go in and tighten a vagina due to, different reasonings. But I think all the other, bells and whistles you're talking about are so much added value. And sometimes some people just don't stretch out the way others do, or they do C-sections and they never have a vaginal birth, and so that's not a concern. We do have to take a commercial break, but I'm really interested in this product line that you have here. So when we come back, we're going to talk about it.
Perfect.
So we'll be right back with you after this quick commercial break. Infinity Skincare is dedicated to making you look and feel your best. If you look good on the outside, you're going to feel good on the inside. Located in the River Oaks and Woodlands area, Infinity Med Spa is devoted to skincare, anti-aging, and rejuvenation. Our treatment options will help you look and feel your absolute best. The primary difference between a med spa and a day spa is that the estheticians at a med spa work under the directives of physicians and are able to offer a much more extensive list of services than they would be able to offer at a day spa. Your day at Infinity Med Spa can vary, depending on whether your focus is more directed towards treatments focused on relaxation, or whether your focus is more directed towards an outer rejuvenation. Here at Infinity Med Spa, we believe good health is a combination of inner health and outer beauty. When you look good on the outside, you feel good on the inside. If you're interested in learning more about the med spa services offered here at Infinity Med Spa, you can visit our website at medspainfinity.com. Imagine hearing the news as a parent that your child has been diagnosed with a condition that is degenerative or life-threatening. Now imagine being told that there's little to no research for that condition, making it so difficult to even figure out the next steps. The reality is, for so many rare conditions, just finding specialists who understand the condition and being able to make informed treatment decisions for their child is very challenging. Each episode, with the help of my network of physicians and medical resources across the U.S., I will attempt to connect the dots by bringing recognition of rare conditions and connecting families to the best treatment, clinical experts, resources, and support. I'm going to highlight these hard-to-diagnose diseases and offer in-depth awareness for families of children in the rare disease community. I believe we are all in charge of our own healthcare, and pushing for answers and creating awareness for various rare health conditions
can really make the world a better place. Not only am I a huge advocate who seeks to spearhead the fight to bring rare conditions to the forefront of research, but I personally had my own rare condition, and thankfully I was cured due to early detection. My passion to help others was fueled by that experience, and it's motivated me to create the Hatching for Health show. This show gives us the opportunity to create awareness for children with hopes of finding them cures.
Welcome back from the commercial break. If you have just joined us, we are here with Dr. Amir Marashi, known as the Vagina Whisperer. So this has been extremely interesting. I think we're teaching a lot of people a lot of things today. And before we went to break, I mentioned talking about Sere. Okay. So tell me about this. It's a beautiful line, and this is for sexual toys for women and men, both?
Sure, for women and men. So I like to call them tools because, you know, tools are something that you can use whether you're a man or woman, and you kind of spice up things, and it helps you achieve what you want to achieve. So you use a screwdriver. You could have screwed a screw with your hand too, but this is going to make your life easier.
There
so
you go.
These tools,
good analogy.
you know, these tools are actually helping you. We engineered them to help you make your sex life easier and add to your orgasms and basically heighten them. So this started from the gel. Before all of them, this is a gel I've been working on for the past 5 years, and I'm so thankful to all my patients, even victims of, you know, female genital mutilation. Initially, we started this because doesn't matter how much surgery we did on them, they would still not have complete sensation. So I'm like, I want to create a gel that increases blood flow to the clitoris. So we started working on it for like 2-3 years. We went through different formulations and we found the best formula. And the past 2 years, I've been working with another doctor. She's amazing. She's my colleague, actually. And we created a technique which is called clitogram, which is ultrasound for clitoris. So we're actually doing a sonogram on the clitoris and showing that if the blood flow actually increases with this or that, so
you
or
put
not.
this on there.
We put this on clitoris. We do it.
Okay.
And of course, our first volunteer was the doctor who is, you know, working with me. She's a radiologist as well, so she did it on herself, and it actually showed significant increase. So sometimes you don't have the time to really do the foreplay, which I think you should always do. This is something that increases, just like men. You know, they need to get an erection before having sex. For women, it's the same thing. You need for clitoris to be completely engorged before you start having sex. And that's the reason when it doesn't get like that, you have sex and you're not enjoying it. You're like just doing it for the guy.
Both partners have to get, you know, on the same level to have the, you know,
so this
the best
basically helps you get an erection in your clitoris. You know.
I see. Okay.
And it increases, of course, orgasms and everything. We call it enchantment gel.
I love that. Enchantment gel. And the packaging is beautiful. The weight of it, it's like,
Thank you.
And so all of these individually are the
So there are different, so there are different tools that we have. I'm gonna
instead of toys.
I'm gonna show you some. So we try to do as much as we can in the U.S. Even my packaging is completely done in the United States.
Great.
The investors who are working with me, they hate me because you know, they're like, you go for the best. We have different options for the silicone we use on this. And I use medical grade, non-porous silicone, the most expensive one. It could have been like at least like $7, $8 for production less. If, and you know, in numbers, it becomes a big number. But I told them, no, we want medical grade silicone because as a gynecologist, if I'm, you know, putting my name, recommending something, I want it to be medical grade silicone. As you see, we use a lot of black colors, and the reason for that is, you see the smallest imperfections on black. So if there are like a little lint or there is any dirt on it, you can completely see it. And that's the reason we did that, because 75% of OBGYN clinic visits are because of bacterial vaginosis or yeast infection. And guess what? A lot of it happened because of the tools that people used and they didn't wash them properly. This you can't get away with no washing it.
Seeing anything.
You have to.
It's like a little soap and water and you
it has to be
it all
and
perfectly clean. Wow, there's quite a few options.
There are a bunch of them. I didn't bring everything for you, and there are like a few more that are coming up.
There's a size for everybody. Like all the
You know, people call these butt plugs, but they are not really. I don't call them butt plugs. These are angle rectifiers. They fix the angle. So if you don't have the means to really pay for the surgery to correct the angle and make it like this, so this we proved with ultrasound as well. You put one of these inside the anus, and it actually brings the angle of the vagina up. So instead of being like this, you're pushing it from underneath, so it becomes like this. And we measured the measurement from here to here exactly. It's an average size that sits right underneath the perineal body, and that's where it needs to come up.
And it picks it up.
It picks it up.
Oh my gosh, like a little brace.
When people use, exactly. So when people use this during intercourse, they're like, wow, why didn't we ever do it?
Yeah.
And I mean, of course.
Does anyone else have something like that? It's very
No, there are. I mean, listen, butt plugs exist. Everybody has them. But just
didn't, the whole purpose behind it was not probably part of their, creation.
Calling it an angle rectifier, we are the first, and we actually have a patent pending on it, so don't even try.
No pun intended, like angle rectifier in the rectum.
It's like an AR, you know?
Yeah.
There's AR gun, there's angle rectifier. So.
Okay. So that's what all of these are, the different versions that
So there are different versions. And then this is one of my favorites. Of course, this is a Spellbound stimulator. So as you see, we planned this so it changes the angle, conforms to your own body. So this part of it is the air pulse part. This kind of start sucking on the clitoris.
Okay.
And then at the same time, this part of it you can put inside and stimulate the inner part of your clitoris, the G-spot. So and you just change the angle, so this vibrates, this sucks on the clitoris, and you're like literally getting all different parts of the clitoris. So if this and this together, you cannot resist the orgasm. If anybody can go more than 2 minutes with these two, they can come pick up the second set for free.
Yeah, exactly. I know, that sounds incredible. So are these sold just online? Or do they have to just get in touch? Like where right now are they available?
Getcere.com.
Getcere, okay.
Get, G-E-T-C-E-R-E, getcere.com.
Okay.
And we sell them there. There are some medical spas that are carrying them. My offices are carrying them, but mostly the easiest one is to do Getcere.
Well, Infinity Med Spa, would love to carry them too.
Sure.
Yeah, I know there's already some collaboration there with certain procedures.
Of course, we would love for you to have.
And you walked on and you handed me this book. I didn't really get to ask you about it, but so you're an author too now of something like this. I mean, this is beautiful. Are you a part of the book? How exactly?
I'm a part of the book. So this is my book, A Woman's Right to Pleasure.
Beautiful.
I did it in collaboration with Black Book. The reason this entire book is started is because of the double standard I saw. Back in Iran, I saw how my sister gets a completely different treatment than I get. I could come home whatever time I want to come. I can have as many girlfriends as I want to have, but my sister can't be out after like 6 p.m. To myself, I thought, and everybody has to be a virgin when they get married, they can get killed. I thought, well, I live in Iran, it's the culture, it's backwards. But then I moved to England and I came to US and I saw that even in the US, the double standard exists.
Yeah.
It may not be about sex necessarily, but it's about different things.
Yeah.
Look, we talked about, imagine boob jobs, breast augmentation. 30 years ago, somebody got them done. They're like, she's a slut,
Yeah, it's like just, these different preconceived notions of like what that
now
meant.
Same thing happens, and then the same thing happens with labioplasties. People shame other patients when somebody comes on our post and say, oh, you know what, I actually want to get this done. People start shaming them. Why do you want to touch your body? I moved to this country. I thought, people can, dye their hair whatever color they want to dye it. They can have whatever sexual orientation they want to have. They do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Why do you want to shame somebody for wanting to do something to themselves? That's number one. So that was one reason. And the other reason, I really want women to have the same right of pleasure than men do.
Yeah, exactly.
Viagra got approved in less than a year. Viagra got approved almost as fast as COVID vaccine was approved. And it wasn't an emergency. And there is nothing like that for
women yeah.
orgasm. I mean, we started this. You know, we had an ad, very clean ad for this, for the Saray line.
Yeah.
Super clean. Just showing the pictures of these, not even anything else. No naked person for Valentine's Day. We secured it in Times Square. We paid for it.
I saw that. You were talking about that
Everything
online.
was fine. We paid for it. It was completely good to go. Last minute, Times Square authority comes and said, oh, you know what? This category we can't have in Times Square. And now we are going back. And I'm going to sue the entire city for that, because we're going back. You don't know how many things. They had animals' penises in Times Square. They have the naked cowboy and cowgirl walking there. They have it's
like the place that anything goes.
Anything goes,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, and this is something that is,
there's
again,
a strip club right in the middle of
it's basically like
that.
a commercial for Viagra in a way, you know? Like,
exactly.
Would that be allowed there? Yes.
100%.
Yeah, that is bizarre that happened. I saw you writing about that online, and I was like, what? Like, all taken care of and paid for to be presented in Times Square? I mean, that's a big deal. Like, you know, all the time and energy, like, to put the commercial together and, you know.
Especially for Valentine's Day. I mean, we lost so much, forget about revenue, so much time of all my team and all these people who worked on this.
Yeah,
and then last minute you tell them you can't have this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely need to be, like, rectified with that situation.
100%.
So currently, if like a patient wants to, you know, basically reach out, have a consultation with you to learn more about what potential procedures that would be good fit for them, they can follow you at, you have a social media account.
NYC Gyno.
NYC Gyno.
NYC, and like New York City, NYC GYNO. Depending on where they are, if they are, of course, if they're in Texas, they can always either direct message me or call the number on NYC Gyno.
Okay.
Or they can get in touch with, you know, the offices that I'm doing surgeries. That I'm doing surgery at Nuvo Surgery Center.
Okay.
The other procedures I'm doing with Infinity Med Spa.
Yeah.
So whatever way they want to get in touch with me, I love Southern people. I love Houston. Everybody's so welcoming. And I've been doing these surgeries for the past 10 years, New York, Miami, Dubai.
Yeah, you've actually treated like some, pretty noble people out there in Dubai.
We're still
doing
doing
it. The housewives on some of the shows out there. Like there's some folks, can't name names, but.
Unfortunately, we can't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here I have a lot of, really A-listed actresses. I have two that I operated on. And I asked them, I'm like, you know what, can you put me on your Instagram? And they're like, you know what, if you were injecting my lips, yes, but nobody needs to know about these lips. Okay. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, but definitely, I would trust you, and I'm sure many others would, with the elaborate experience that you have. And I think the focus that you've taken is a beautiful one for the supportive women, but even for the ones that have had unfortunate situations, and being able to come in and help them and change their lives. So thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to seeing you around, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope we were able to educate you. And if we can be of any help, please reach out to NYC Gyno. And he is also seen at Infinity Med Spa, and definitely partake in some of his line. We'll see you right back here next Saturday morning.